It's a plant called hemp, and as a relative to marijuana, it is for the most part illegal.
But advocates say with many uses, it could be a very valuable cash crop here in Nebraska. NTV's Megan Johnson joins us with part 2 of her special report, including how things could be changing to allow hemp right here.
Though they're the same plant, it's lower concentrations of the chemical that gets a person high that makes hemp different than marijuana. Still, federal law makes growing it illegal, but part of last year's farm bill and a new state law have cracked a door for the future of hemp.
I would say we use hemp daily. It's such a strong fiber that we use it to tie tags on, we tie displays up with hemp.
Hemp products are not the bulk of items sold in Euphoria, a Lincoln gift shop. But Carissa Anderson says there's always demand.
We also have a lot of the community come to us to buy the hemp, in which they make necklaces such as this. We also do hair wraps in the hair, where you literally tie a hemp dread around the hair. It's a new fashion statement that's going on right now.
Anderson buys her hemp from overseas, as it's illegal to grow commercially here in the U.S., something advocates of the plant want to change.
After all this prohibition, it's time that we stand up and recognize the benefits both as industrial hemp and just the whole plant.
One state senator says when LB 1001 hit the legislature floor last year, many were on board with allowing hemp, which can be made into foods, fibers, and fuels, to be grown in Nebraska.
Also, people were excited about it because it's a low water crop. And I know that water has been a challenge sometimes in Nebraska, so it seemed to have a lot of advantages, and people were anxious to help Nebraska get on the cutting edge of that.
The bill passed, but Senator Sue Crawford says its final language was much narrower.
That happened to make the bill compliant with the federal restrictions in the federal farm bill, which does allow hemp research, but has some pretty tight restrictions on it.
The farm bill provision and Nebraska's law both okay industrial hemp growth and cultivation, but only for research in a college or university type setting, meaning the average farmer is not free to grow it.
So essentially what the goal is with this pilot project is that post-secondary institutions like UNL will be able to conduct research projects.
Jason Feldman and other hemp advocates are watching closely as the State Department of Ag released the first draft of rules and regulations that would let research get going, then held a public hearing on it.
The way that the Department of Agriculture has drafted these regulations, unlike other states, they didn't interpret the rules to include farmers to act on behalf of the state as an agent of the state to grow for the research purposes.
There's no timeline yet on final rules, which have to be signed by the governor, and with another spring passing by, many are frustrated with the slowness of the process.
We need to be moving on this immediately. This is vital for Nebraska to stay in competition with the other states that are claiming to be the research capitals of the world on hemp.
Feldman believes there's support for future Nebraska hemp laws, but navigating between current state and federal drug rules can be a murky area when it comes to things like importing seed.
We've had a lot of senators down at the Capitol that have expressed a lot of interest in seeing this passed. They just want to see it take the right steps. They don't want to get the cart in front of the horse.
Professor Ishmael Dwicat studies sorghum and millet at UNL now and says once there's rules in place, research will start by taking inventory on wild hemp, better known here as ditchweed.
We know it's growing in Nebraska, so we just need to see how much diversity we have there and then do genetic study to select for a trait that are desirable by the farmers in here and the market.
Once the research doors open, experts think domestic production won't be far behind.
We're happy that something has been passed. I think that this pilot project is just going to it'll validate. We'll look at next session getting something introduced.
Other states like Connecticut, Kentucky, Colorado already ahead of us, and we don't want to be the last one to do the research. We would like to be in the first group.
When that happens, hemp buyers like Anderson think customer demands will grow too.
It's not very available, so they don't think about it. But if they started thinking about how much better quality an item is going to be if it's made out of hemp versus cotton, I think they'd think a little bit more about it.
Because of the federal laws prohibiting growing hemp commercially, driving down the road and seeing a Nebraska field full of it is probably years away. And law enforcement I spoke with say there would have to be a lot more regulation because it's impossible to tell the difference between a hemp plant and a marijuana plant without a lab test.